Okay, so as many as you know, I worked in the COVID ICU. I did 2 separate contracts, and then I was on ambulance doing transport. And I lived in a hotel. This was when they were giving nurses free hotels, and I lived in this hotel, and it was hard. I'm an extrovert. I get energy from people, and so to go from the hospital where everybody's dying home to locked in a room just was a lot on the mental aspect. In addition, I was so afraid I was going to kill somebody. Like, this was before we knew what COVID really was. I saw my friends dying who are nurses. All my patients died. I only have 1 living patient from COVID. And it just became taxing. So I was staying in the hotel, and the staff was unbelievable nice. So we got free breakfast, and one of the times, like when I wasn't working, I missed the breakfast, and he wrote for the sleeping nurse and just left it there for me. The front desk was fabulous. They would talk to me from a distance. I know one time I was like, we're going out to dinner, and I got foods, and we ate across the lobby, so we weren't at risk of exposing anybody. And one of the cool things they did is when I walked in at the end of the day, they always looked at my feet, because they knew if I was wearing shoes, I didn't have COVID patients that day. If I wasn't wearing shoes, I had COVID patients that day. And so every time they would look at my feet and be like, oh, good day, or rough one. And what I loved about it is I could just be like, yeah, it was rough. And no one was trying to say it's not real or talk me out of it or whatever people are doing. It just was like, hey, sorry you have a bad day. Just like with COVID, I actually gave my twin a hug underwater. So I was staying in a hotel 15 minutes from my parents' house, and I would go and we would sit in the backyard so we could social distance and I could stay and talk. And I just was deprived of touch. I needed to touch somebody. And so we had this genius idea, because COVID has never been transferred underwater, that we'll jump from either side of the pool, give each other a hug, and then swim back. And so I actually did. I gave my sister a hug underwater. Something else that we did that was really meaningful is my grandmother's on the short side. She's 5'3", and she would always hug me backwards. So we would go out to her garden so we can social distance, and before we leave, she always told me to turn around, and she would give me a hug, because her philosophy was that she's short enough and I'm tall enough that we should be okay, and that it shouldn't be much risk, which, to be honest, the risk was probably, low. But anyway, that was my COVID experience.